So I've got a little bit of peach wine, and it's not quite midnight here, but I would like to go ahead and raise a toast to saying goodbye to 2020 and to hello to 2021. May it bring all of the hopes and joy that we wished 2020 had brought us. Fold as I, my dear, sorry. For old lang syne, we'll take a cup, oh kindness yet, for old lang syne.
Good evening and welcome back to the LolCow Ranch. Ooh. Stop. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the LolCow Ranch. How are you? I am doing just fine. I'm your host, Governor Rocknar. And what do we have in store for us today? Well, we have a bunch of new Adrasdea videos. Any new James Clark? No. He did take a break now, finally, after our react videos to him. So let's take a look and see what newness awaits Adrasdea. Happy New Year, James. Happy New Year, Mary. Hope you're gonna have a good 2022. So, as you can see, we got a bunch of new stuff from Mary to go over. And one of the things I wanted to show you all here, wait a second, is I am ready just in case old Mary decides that she's going to throw a landscape video on us. So I got the portrait mode ready, and then I can transition to the landscape mode. Hey, look at that. So I'm ready, just in case. But right now, we'll just go into get ready for portrait mode here. Hey, Spider McGee, Happy New Year. 3 for the Mad Mage, ASDSS 07, everyone. So, alright, I want to take a look at first Mary videos. So we're going to open folder, Adrasdea videos. Oh, now this is why I set it for landscape mode. Hey, look at that. Thought you'd pull one over on us, Mary, huh? No, we were ready for you this time. If you want, you can visit cbdx.com and use promo codes AP. You get or 44420 or Virgie or ROTC. You'll get 20% off of your order. You get a free gift, and you get priority shipping on any order that's over $80. And yeah, I'll just kind of cut it there. I don't want to get too happy on the CBDX. Yeah, because I don't want to get in trouble or anything for this. So I'm going to Mary's first video. Mental illness, murder, and people who profit off of it. I guess she means me. Let's hear what she has to say.
Okay, so all of the documents are out, and I needed a couple of days to kind of center myself and think about the whole thing.
And think about your responses, that is, Mary. Think about the responses too. And I stand corrected. It was not 120 documents. It's over 400, Mary. Over 400. And all I need to do is just ask Aunt Kathy to send me the link to that. Boom. All 400 documents, Mary. And I'll just take a look at them. That'll be my 2022. I'll just go through a bit of that. That's the perfect source material. Thank you for that, Mary. Perfect source material.
From what I've seen of the documents that I've seen, because I didn't watch the video where they were discussing it, I've just seen a couple of things that were emailed to me. But it kind of...
a couple things that who might have emailed to you. Maybe Adonis Paul, maybe Niece Lone Wolf, maybe James Robert Clark, for all we know. Somebody emailed you the key critical documents that showed you're a liar, Mary.
Looks like it says the exact same thing that I have been saying. So I don't understand how it helps any of y'all in the demonization of me. So, from the beginning, I have been saying that I have severe mental health issues.
Now, from the beginning, you've been using the excuse of severe mental health issues as a means of covering up your crime. Mary, you nagged Kenneth McBride so badly that in a second-degree murder state of wanting to get you to shut the fuck up, Mary, he did the unthinkable. He did the unthinkable and he crossed that line. He crossed that line that you kept nagging him, cross. Cross that line, Kenneth. Get rid of her by any means necessary. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. And in his head, in his, warped, low IQ head, he listened to you. And he did what you wanted, Mary. And then you turned around and you helped him hide the body for 3 days before you buried it. You covered it up with bags of trash. You covered up Roberta in trash bags, and then you covered her up in the back on the back porch like she was another bag of trash. Something that the neighbors just wouldn't even notice. They were seeing so many trash bags on the back of your porch already. What's one more trash bag? Especially a big, heavy one. It's probably about 270 pounds. Mary, we have you dead to rights with all of your lies.
Y'all decided I was lying.
We didn't decide you were lying. We caught you lying. That is a big fucking difference, Mary.
My own family, Kathy, said that there was no history of mental health in my family, even though my own father committed suicide. In the court records, it very clearly shows that at the time I had been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and CPTSD.
Which we've come to find out is complex multiple personality disorder, and Melly had something very good that I wanted to okay. Where was it? No, she left it as a comment. She left it as a comment on the video for James. No, for Adrasdea. Wait a minute. About CPTSD. She said, so you're right, Alright. Hey Randolphs, just thought you may want to know that when Mary mentions she has CPTSD, she is referring to complex post-traumatic stress disorder. One of the symptoms of CPTSD is cognitive dissociation from the original traumatic event, not remembering parts of the event, or even not remembering the whole traumatic event. ASDSS touched on this in the voice Discord, but I thought it would be worth highlighting. Since I am not that familiar with Mary's situation, I wonder why her claim of suffering with CPTSD is being dismissed. Well, I don't know if it's being dismissed necessarily. I think we're just she exaggerates her PTSD, and whenever something just exciting happens, like at a grocery store, and she gets, somebody yelling at her about, masks, and then it becomes a PTSD event to her. Now, real PTSD is definitely what happened with the death of Roberta Laws, because once she realized that Kenneth had crossed that line, internally, it's like in Breaking Bad, when you see Walter, watching Jesse's girlfriend asphyxiate on her vomit, and he instinctively, as Walter, he instinctively wants to help save the girl. But he knows, Heisenberg inside knows that Jesse's girlfriend was ready to rat them all out, so he had to make that internal choice, and at that moment, Heisenberg took over and Walter ceased to be. At this moment, when Roberta Laws was dead, Mary ceased to be, and Adrasdea took over, for lack of a better comparison. But anyway, let's go back into our video.
That is what I have been saying all year.
No, you've been changing your story all year, Mary. We know you.
You guys have been denying and saying I was lying about. Kathy said that none of that existed until the murder, when I made it all up to get away with it. That's not true. By the time the murder happened, I had already been in multiple mental hospitals.
That's probably true, and I will grant you that, but she's probably also self-admitting herself. So voluntary committals, that does show steps for positive mental health, and it's also, kind of, how did you end up in this state if you were taking those steps in mental health voluntarily? I I don't know. Maybe some problems just can't be solved. I don't know.
The first time I was bake racked, I think was when I was 18. I had tried to kill myself at 19. I had spent years in and out of the mental hospitals. And my mind does not work the same way that a lot of yours does. So a lot of the things that you're demonizing me for it's legitimately how my mind works.
How your mind works is inventing lies and confabulating the truth, and every time that we explain to you where you're lying and we point it out to you in the public record, you just confabulate more truth or more lies to counter that. Mary, are you saying legitimately that that is how your mind works, that you are just a chronic liar? No wonder they never wanted to put you on the stand.
Right? And it's super frustrating that nobody can understand that. Y'all spent a year telling me that my mental health disorders are all completely fictional and made up.
No, I did not say that the mental health disorders are fictional or made up. Others may have, and to a degree, certain mental health disorders can be exaggerated. Now, I've really only had a couple of, times where I've had to go to, the mental health, unit to, because I was having a rough time. And I'd been diagnosed in 2008 with major depression. That was how I was able to finally get onto antidepressants for the first time, Celexa and Trazodone. And it wasn't a solution. It wasn't the complete solution that I was looking for, but it was definitely steps in the right direction. And combining the medication with the therapy were what was gradually kind of pulling me back from an abyss of you know wanting to kill myself as well. Mary, I make no pretensions about my suicidal ideations. I've had plenty of them, but the thing about life is you have to keep on living. If you kill yourself, everyone else who is your critics will just say, you know what? She killed herself because we kept exposing the truth about her. If you think that we're lying, then keep living, okay? Keep living so that every day that you live is one big F you to Adonis Paul, okay? Keep living, Mary. There's there's plenty to live for, Mary, and like I was telling James, suicides don't go to heaven. If you're going to adhere to a strict Catholic, interpretation of it, suicides don't go to heaven because you are wasting away God's gift.
Just to release these court documents stating the exact same thing that I've been saying, that I have these mental health issues. The second thing is, y'all are saying that, I did this, that you believe I'm the one that committed the crime and I should be in jail.
Under Florida law, a person who encourages someone else to commit a violent act such as murder can be charged with it themselves, depending on the circumstances. You were in the car nagging the shit out of Kenneth McBride, going, get rid of her, get rid of her, get rid of her, get rid of her. Now, you can say in the back of your head that, oh, I never said I wanted to kill her. Manson said the same fucking bullshit about the Folgers, Abigail Folger, and about Sharon Tate. Said the same fucking bullshit. Get rid of them. Told his followers, get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them. And his followers did what Manson told them to do. Now, I'm not saying that you're Manson, Mary. You're far from being a Charlie Manson. Because, I don't see you out on any kind of old abandoned Western set, living with a blind man. Yet. But that's actually a good movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I actually saw that. I liked that movie. So, but, Mary, the difference between telling somebody to go commit a crime and committing the crime yourself is a very, very thin line. Very, very thin. So, if I tell someone to go out and drive my car, okay, and they're insured, let's say that I tell them to go drive my car. Now, they have an accident and a person gets killed. I did not tell that person to go out and, get into an accident. Okay? That's a totally different situation if I'm saying to, my friend, hey, take my car and go, do some evil things with it. Then I do get in trouble, Mary. And Mary, when you kept nagging the shit out of Kenneth McBride to get rid of her, in his head, he knew what you wanted. He knew subconsciously what you wanted was to get rid of her violently. Okay, Mary? That's how we know your whole story is bullshit on all of this. Hey, Maureen, if you want, you're free to join us in the Discord.
The documents that I read said that he pled principal, which I don't really know what that means. From what I've read and
he pled principal basically to spare his life. Okay, Mary? He was given a choice. A jury could find him guilty and sentence him to death, and in finding him guilty, would have considered you just as guilty as being an accomplice to the crime. Now, Kenneth thought, hey, I don't want to die. It's fucked up that he has to go to the lethal injection for your bullshit, Mary. He wants at least to have a second chance. He wants to at least be able to complete his education in prison. He wants to at least be able to better himself in prison. He's never getting out, obviously. But he wants to be able to have the time to reflect. Kenneth McBride understands what happened. Why don't you, Mary?
understand, it means that he essentially took full responsibility and accountability for what happened. He acknowledged that it was entirely him, that anything that I did, he made me do, that I did not have the full mental awareness to even understand what was going on at the time.
Okay, so she's trying to mask her own intentions here and say that they were Kenneth's. She's trying to pass the whole thing on to Kenneth. Kenneth is too fucking stupid to know how to tie his own goddamn shoes, Mary. All right? You think he knows how to choke a bitch, Mary?
So if he claimed principle and took full accountability for the crime and is in prison for the crime that he claimed full accountability for, What is it that you guys want from me?
We want you to stop lying, Mary. Simple as that. Okay? These videos that you keep making, where you keep digging yourself into this hole of lies, where you have to tell 2 more lies to cover the last one that you told. Mary, sooner or later, someone is going to, in the Florida District Attorney's Office, is going to see this particular video, okay? And I saved it just in case they need it, just in case they need a raw copy of it. I saved it for them. And there's not going to be any kind of upload issues with it. Hey, Maureen. How are you tonight? Or I think that's Maureen. Who we got? Oh, it's Maureen and ASDSS. How are you both this evening? Wait, am I muted? Wait a minute. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so you can hear me now in the Discord. I apologize.
Hi, I can hear you now. Hi.
I am sorry about that. You know what? I had my shit muted because I was in unknown archives. I was watching an I Love Lucy, and I was kind of, and I didn't want to have my microphone on for the Discord because I didn't want to fuck shit up for him. So, anyway, Mary just seems to love to be love to lie. She loves lying.
Yeah. And a little bit, I will give her some credit. That motion for principle is difficult to understand. I had to think hard on it for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Read and reread the document. Motion for principle in this specific case, he wasn't pleading anything besides guilty later on.
Yeah.
He wasn't 100% really taking full responsibility. They were jury instructions. So it was instructions to the jury when deliberating whether or not Ken was guilty of murder 1 or murder 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you cannot take into account anybody else's actions. You have to look at Ken, and just as far as everything else being equal, he's the only one involved. That's what that means. So because that's really not a formal plea agreement, Mary can still be on the hook. But will she ever be arrested? Will she ever be fully investigated?
No, I don't think so.
That's the unfortunate reality.
And ASTSS says, in reality, she demonstrates indifference and callousness towards the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I kind of think she was way more involved than even the court documents suggest.
Yeah. I mean,
she has no disregard for human life at all. She has no regard for human life at all. There we go.
Well, that's. Hold on a second. Didn't want to cough into the mic. Okay. She has this weird kind of fixation where she wants to take care of cats and bunnies and things like that. So she has some understanding of the value of what life is in terms of, pets. And was there something, do you think, about Roberta that was just annoying that, after a while would annoy the piss out of anybody? Or was it just...
She was in her way. She was in her way.
Yeah.
Roberta was in Mary's way.
Yeah.
That's to Mary's perception. And honestly, this is pure based on what we know, based on what we have been told how they met, which I do take with a huge grain of salt. The fact that Roberta had cerebral palsy was incredibly coincidental, but because she was Mary's only 15 months older than her younger brother, and he had a much, much more severe form of the defect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of their closeness in age, he got a lot of attention. Being so close in age, being so young, she probably was incredibly jealous of him. So when she meets this guy, finds out he's engaged to another woman who also happens to have cerebral palsy, which
Yeah.
which is currently affecting her brother. She wasn't having it.
No, she did not like the fact that someone else with cerebral palsy was able to find more success than her brother did. So,
Well, not just that. It's well, this woman has cerebral palsy and she's getting attention. I don't have this horrible defect. Why? How come I'm not getting the attention? That's what when I'm normal. I mean,
because
that's
yeah,
the
because you
fucked up
don't
stuff
need
that's
the
going through
attention,
her head.
Mary. Yeah, Mary, because you didn't need the
Yeah.
attention. That's not the kind of attention that you would need, Mary. Mary, if someone has a medical condition, like if they're Mary would be the worst kind of hospice nurse. Could you imagine Mary as a hospice nurse? Because, someone is like dying of cancer and, she would be the one taking all the morphine and the person that's in hospice is just in constant pain, which is kind of defeating the point of hospice. So Mary is the kind of caregiver that, she would love to, help herself to the wallet when, Roberta wasn't looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you suppose when they said that Kenneth used the ATM card, did he? Yeah, I guess he would know the pin because they were Kenneth and Roberta were in a relationship on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
who knows what their personal finances were? He may have had permission to access her account.
that's true. Yeah. So
Yeah, and they may have even had like a joint account and then two separate accounts. Who knows? It. You know what? Honestly, none of my goddamn business. They were engaged and living together.
yeah, there you go. I mean, you can get joint accounts from the bank even if you're just like not even married. You just ask somebody, hey, put this person on as a cosigner on the account, and they're like, are you sure? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
Because
My mom is on my savings account because we set that up when I was 8 years old and we've just never bothered taking her name off the account. They've been handy about a year ago when we had to do some personal finances, but
Oh yeah.
we just leave her on it, even though it's all my money.
Hey, you know what? Just in case, she might need some of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm just thinking,
like
heaven forbid I need bail money. She can move it from the savings to her checking account.
Just wire a payment to Chico bail bonds. Let freedom ring.
Yeah, right.
Let's take a look at you, Mary.
it's easy to get into my head.
Oh yes, it is, Mary, because you lie, and when we catch you lying, that it's like looking into a broken egg and seeing what's left of the eggshell, Mary. That that's all your lies are now. It's just broken eggshells.
Because my mental health is not great. It's easy to convince me of things that are a little bit outlandish.
You know what? That's why I'm very careful about my theories about her because I don't want her to flipping out and going in Tasmanian devil mode again, like she did with the first stream about the panhandlers that I have living in my hometown. So I'm very careful now about any theories that I might have. But the theories that that we're extrapolating about with the death of Roberta Laws are based solely on those public record documents. So those are theories that Mary cannot counter. And I think that the more that we start hammering her with that, she's starting to make these videos where she just goes into silent mode. She's like, like she's trying to she can't bring the words to her. So yeah,
She
which is
can't refute it because our theories based on court documents probably are, to quote Mona Lisa Vito, dead on balls accurate,
mm-hmm,
and she can't lie or manipulate her way out and around them.
exactly. Yeah. So, and Aunt Kathy, if you hear this later on, If you could please send a link to the Rocknar's LolCow Discord for the 400 pages of the court documents. That way, I could take a look at those. So, thank you,
I would
Kathy.
love, I would love to interview Aunt Kathy
I would
on the
love.
show.
Aunt Kathy is like the sweetest woman ever, ASD. She's so nice.
I'd love to interview Aunt Kathy on the show.
Hey, if I bet
What's
if go ahead.
What's really interesting about Mary is that it seems like when she has a visceral reaction to anything, the only traumatic event that elicits anything in her is the belief that she was bamboozled out of her inheritance, because money is her motivating factor.
Oh, yeah.
Always. I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes down to what actually elicits an emotional response from her, it's that. It's, I was supposed to be taken care of for the rest of my life. I was supposed to be taken care of. You were supposed to take care of me, and I was bamboozled out of it, and now I have to take care of myself. And I think that that's why she was so off for so long, because she didn't care who was taking care of her. She didn't care how bad of a person they were, what they did. She didn't care if her ex-husband was, grooming children. She didn't care if this guy, was abusing, and another guy was abusing a cerebral palsy, woman with cerebral palsy. It didn't matter. The point was, the goal has always been to find someone that will pay my way and take care of me by any means necessary, by lying, manipulation, grifting, stealing, violence, trickery, strong arming, robbery. It does not matter. I mean, and I think that that's where a lot of the antisocial personality traits come in. The suicidal statements is where kind of the cluster B borderline comes in. And the notions that Kathy said since she was 5 years old that she was going to be famous, that she was so important, that she was going to be popular, that she was going to be a star, that she was the best. And since you're the best, you should be taken care of. People should bow down. They should, do everything and bend over backwards for you on your behalf. And her reaction when people don't, that shows an extreme level of narcissism. Again, though, all of that gets thrown out the window if she did end up having, fetal alcohol syndrome, because they would be hallmark characteristics of that too. So rule out medical is number one, which would be FAS. And if there's no FAS, then I would say that she fits nicely into a cluster B, which means psychotropic medication will not be very beneficial overall with treating it and making it all go away. She can't really claim the level of learned helplessness and my mental health when you're in active addiction. So, Mary, in the end, you still have no one but yourself to blame for your mental health issues, because you're not actively seeking any kind of support for your drug and alcohol issues at all. And, if that's self-medicating, that's one thing, but it just seems as though when you're drunk on stream, your true personality comes out, which is fuck you, fuck the world, I'm the best. This is my life. Being provocative, being more of a provocateur, because that's really who she is when the filter's off and she's not thinking about being manipulative. She's just letting it all hang out physically and emotionally. And it's pretty gruesome to watch in both ways.
And she put out a video earlier today, PayPal me money, PayPal me /Adrasdea. And I'm thinking to myself, you stupid fucking bitch. AP and Mersh both gave you money. And you let trolls fucking trick you into thinking that you had to give the money back, or your own narcissism said that you couldn't take money from people who were trying to expose you. So she had to give the money back, and now she's stuck in the same situation where she's asking for money again for New Year's so that she can get high and drunk. And
if she takes their money, then the grift is over, because then if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. And for her, if she takes their money, then the thing she uses to grift other people is over, because then the people who've been giving her money will say, I thought you were champion against these people. These are bad people, but you took their money. And then her only few allies she has would then turn on her too. And she's not so dumb that she doesn't notice that, she has to keep that narrative alive. Like she can't take AP's money. She can't take AP's money. If she took AP's money, she'd be a fool, because everybody that, she's tried to bamboozle into believing that she's this person that's just being, bullied on the internet goes out the window. So I think it was a calculated risk in the end. Like, the more I got to know her and look at the documents, I'd say that at first I thought, like, okay, she doesn't want to have to, be beholden to any man that she thinks is abusive. That was my initial thought, but no, not anymore. Not after seeing some of the court stuff. It's like, no, this is more of a calculated risk. It's like, I really want this money. I really want to get drunk, but not at the expense of literally alienating both sides of the people that watch me. Because the people that subscribe to me, 90% of them, do it for entertainment and to give me a hard time. But then there's that 10% that actually feel bad for me and send me shit. And she don't lose that 10%. She don't lose that 10% at all, because then she's got nothing coming in.
Yeah. Money is always the priority of an addict, because to an addict, how much is something worth? Well, how much can you get for this? How much could you sell this for? Well, you're not using this kind of thing. And the worst thing about living with an addict is that they will, go through your shit. Because Sam and me had this one problem roommate who said he just needed to stay with us a couple of weeks. And those couple of weeks turned into like 2.5 years. Because it was just a fucking battle of trying to kick his ass out. Stole a $250 mixing board from Sam for his computer. Stole my Xbox 360. And his main excuse was, well, man, no one else was using it. And I'm like, no, fuck you. We were using those things. You stole them for your heroin money. And yeah, that's the primary thinking of an addict, is how much is something worth. She is barely able to hold on to her phone because, broken charger and all. Nobody wants to buy a phone with a broken charger now. So she's going to, use this to make her videos and pity donate until she has enough to buy another phone at the Dollar General or something.
And Mary, since you only understand money, understand this. The more videos that you do, the more subscribers you rack up. And if you get monetization, God willing, you get monetization. In the end, you're becoming so public that it could call into question anything that you claim for your Section 8 voucher and for the benefits that you get from the government. Mm-hmm. You could actually lose it all. You could lose it all from the bullshit you're pulling.
Yep.
And
monetization is on YouTube is considered income by the IRS.
Exactly.
And if you falsify anything for your re-ups when you have to submit your financial statements for your Section 8 housing or your medical assistance or whatever it is that you might be getting, there's a lot of public, information about how you're garnering money, and that your income is most likely bullshit to what you're putting. You're saying, I'm destitute. I make zero income. I don't work. And, you're not claiming what you're doing. You're not claiming you're grifting your online donations. You're not claiming any of this. So it would behoove you to get the fuck off of YouTube, because you stand to lose everything by just continuing this fight and grifting. Like, you're not going to make $1 billion off of YouTube while simultaneously getting government aid for your apartment, so you can just spend it all on booze and drugs and hair dye. Like, you're eventually, when you say 2022 seems like it's going to be a bad year, it might be, Mary, but not in the way you think. It might be your own undoing, not any of us, but you literally might screw yourself. So you need to start keeping those things in mind, because there's 6,000 videos that you've posted to the contrary of the things that you probably claim for your benefits.
Yeah.
And if you're on here publicly stating certain diagnoses that are counter to what, say, I don't know, Social Security has on file, well, Social Security is going to bring you in for another evaluation and maybe look at you pretty fucking closely. So
yeah, I have to keep tax records of all the jobs that I've worked this year because I got let go from one job when they laid me off, and then I had to go on unemployment for 2.5 months. So I have to keep accurate records of that. I have to keep accurate records of my Streamlabs donations. Thankfully, that's all in my emails. And on top of all that, I'm working a regular work-at-home job in customer service hell. So I'm, trying to be as best of an adult as possible. And Mary, I want you to understand something. I literally pay 30 times the amount that you pay every month for your rent. Your rent is $30 a month. Mine is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 900. Okay, Mary? After all said and done, it's like 900 a month, maybe a little bit more, counting utilities and all that. That's my rent, Mary. Okay? And I'm responsible for that. That's why I work at a job. I'm not out here pity donating money for people. I'm not out here trying to, hustle people, say, oh, send me money so that I can buy a gram of dabs, please. I'm not doing that, Mary. Mary, being an adult is not that hard, okay? You make it out to be so hard that you just refuse to even fill out the GR paperwork and you just let it expire, and then 3 days after it expires, you make a point of cutting up that expired GR paperwork, trying to make everybody think, oh, well, Adonis is making me do this. No, Mary, it's just part of your grift. It's just part of your grift. Yeah.
Mary, if they really wanted to make your life hard, they would flood your channel with subscribers so you get monetization, you get to 1,000, because either A, your channel would get immediately yeeted.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably get yeeted first.
Immediately, and you'd be gone off YouTube forever. Or B, you don't get yeeted and you get monetization, and then if you don't claim, people start reporting the fact that you're not claiming, and then you're in trouble. So,
or C,
it really would behoove you, since you only care about money, to really think about these things, because you don't live by any rule of society, Mary. So
the more subscribers she gets.
Go
ahead.
She's too egocentric to think that she'll ever get caught. At this point, she really just thinks that she'll never have a comeuppance for any of the grifting that she does, because she hasn't. She's gotten away with many things, and Mary, I just don't know if this is the hill you want to die on. I'm trying to help you, since you only think in money. You stand to lose everything in the next year just on your own accord. So,
and the more subscribers that you get, Mary, the bigger your channel becomes, the more attention you're going to start to draw towards everybody else. And everybody else is going to want to look at those court documents, Mary. And everybody else is going to want to say, hey, what's going on here with this, incident with you and Roberta Laws, Mary? That's not the kind of attention you want to be drawing to yourself, Mary. That's why reaching 1,000 subscribers is not the milestone you want to be hitting on this.
Yep.
So,
and to that last point, one podcast unrelated to the ROTC universe has already picked up on this story and did a 30-minute story around American Thanksgiving concerning Roberta.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another large true crime podcast, like Silver Checkmark, is looking into it. Don't know if he's going to do anything with it, but he's intrigued and is doing his research right now.
Mary, the more podcasts that start to come out, the worse it looks for you. Trust me, you need to get off YouTube right now before it gets worse for you. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse in 2022. You thought 2020 and 2019 and 2021 were bad? Mary, 2022 is about to be your undoing.
Yeah, she should get off YouTube, quite frankly. But even more importantly, like IRL or on YouTube, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up about the will and shut the fuck up about Roberta, because it's gonna come around and bite you in the ass, and it's not gonna be from us. It's going to be IRL karma.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, and you're not gonna get the fame you want, Mary, but you're definitely might get the infamy. So
Yeah. Oh, I have a theory that the reason she decided to move to California to begin with was because she thinks she can sing, that she's this unknown talent, unknown star, and she's going to be famous. So she's got to go out to LA to get discovered. And the fact that California, has all of these great government assistance programs, even better, icing on the cake. She honestly did not expect to be homeless for the 2 years that she actually was. She thought she'd be living in Beverly Hills by now.
yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Emily, go ahead. Get back to the
I try not to let myself be reeled in, but it's hard. This year has been a year of mental abuse and attacks. I receive emailed threats all the time. Not just threats of rape and murder, but also threats of, like, they keep saying that they're going to the police and they're going to have the murder investigation reopened and I'm going to be put in jail for what I did.
The odds of that are very, very low, Mary. I doubt that anybody is going to reopen this investigation, but the more that you keep blabbing about it and the more that your channel draws attention, the less likely that outcome becomes, Mary. So, Mary, if you really value your freedom, keep quiet. We're not saying to do anything harmful to yourself, Mary. We're just saying keep quiet. Stop making these videos where you implicate yourself all the damn time. Any thoughts?
No, I agree.
No? Okay.
I didn't do anything. Like, what y'all believe I did not do.
For a moment there, when she just kind of was brushing the hair away, you could tell that for that split second, she's reliving the instant where Kenneth said, "It's done." And then Kenneth takes her from the truck to inside the house and shows her the body. And at that moment, she just kind of, something flips inside of her. So she relived that in that tiny split second, I could tell. So and that's why the deep exhale on that. She has to kind of like draw that thought out of her. So
I don't know how else to explain that. I did not know that he was going to kill her.
Liar.
You did not expect Kenneth to kill her. That's where I'll correct you on that, Mary. You didn't expect Kenneth to actually do what you kept nagging the shit out of him to do. Okay? So the moment that he did the complete unexpected thing that you were just kind of just saying indifferently, just get rid of her, whatever it takes. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. And he did. That's kind of when she has this little snap inside. So
That should be the most important thing. I did not know that he was going to do that. I did know that things were getting dangerous and that I didn't want to be a part of the situation anymore.
you were the one making things dangerous, Mary, because you were the one. Yeah. Go ahead.
So that was it. You caused the situation. That was it.
Yeah. She was the one who definitely made the whole thing dangerous on this. Because if she was removed from that situation, Roberta's still alive today. And, Kenneth is probably still trying to, piece his life together. But, Mary, you caused so much destruction in other people's lives and you're just indifferent to it.
Which is why I had tried to stay behind at my grandmother's house after my birthday dinner, and he threatened me that if I didn't get in the truck, he would kill me.
Liar on that, too. You could have just as easily run away. And he didn't have any kind of power door locks or anything like that, or any kind of key fob to where you could go click click and then boom, and then the doors just lock and it keeps you prisoner. Mary, he's not that bright, okay? And you could have just as, and it sounds like from the condition of the truck, I'm thinking just like your generic pickup truck that's got like all kinds of trash and shit in it, and it's like all kinds of dents and all kinds of like scars from like accidents and things like that. So, Mary, your claim that, he was holding you prisoner in the truck is bullshit too. You could have just as easily, opened the door and run. You could have run, Mary. You should have run. Instead,
The neighbors were
yeah.
The neighbors were very close by.
Yeah.
I think the toughest part with this crime is it's just two of the seven deadly sins like merged together with this guy's lust and her greed. She wanted it all.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she deserved it all. He promised her the moon. He wasn't delivering. She was pressing him to deliver on his promises. He wanted to make her happy. He wanted to have all the weird, kinky bullshit sex. And he made a snap judgment that I don't think that she was necessarily expecting. And it was like a little much for her, but at the same time, it's all the pre-event factors, what happened. That's kind of what led to this crime. She wanted to be the only woman in the house. She didn't sign up to be changing diapers. She didn't sign up for this. She didn't sign up to be the side bitch. She signed up to be the queen, and he wasn't delivering, and she was getting impatient. She wanted to be, the head of household, the only woman. Did she expect, him to murder her? That's where everything gets gray, and that's probably why she's still roaming free, driving us all nuts.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, thinking back, like recently thinking back on it, I think she might have already been dead at that time.
Mary?
Shut your mouth, Mary.
Shut your mouth. Yeah, a lawyer, any lawyer, is going to say, be quiet, Mary.
He threatened to kill my grandmother and me because...
No, I think she invented that just now. I think that Kenneth was so frustrated that, he wanted the nagging to end, and he might have said something to the effect of, bitch, shut up and do what I say from now on. Just as, kind of like, all right, I did the thing. Now from now on, you shut up and stop nagging me on this. So, but it's interesting. It's interesting to note that at that moment, I think Kenneth finally started to take control of his relationship with Mary. I don't know.
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason that she turned him in, because she thought she was in control. Because
Mhm.
people who have CPTSD or anywhere, even in cluster B, they want to be in control. That's the whole point. And the fact that he took it to an extreme degree, there was no control. He was controlling her at that point. He was the boss now, because now she had to worry about, whoa, what's he gonna do to me? So it went from her being able to manipulate him to him going over the edge. And it's like, oh, this might not be a person that I'm capable of manipulating. This might not be a person that I'm capable of controlling. And now I don't know. I think I bit off more than I can chew. And I think that, again, it was a calculated thought of, well, now I have to save my own ass because I'm not going down for this. And she turned him in. And she probably stewed on it for weeks. And that's probably why it took her so long, because she was saying, okay, can I reclaim control of the situation? Can I get this person, back under my thumb? And I'm sure with the level of stress and distress and paranoia that guy was under for what he had done, it was probably not easy. And she probably thought, oh, I can't. Then she's like, just got to cut bait and run and get the hell out of here and save my own skin. But Ken killing Roberta was a big change in their relationship, in the sense that, everything up until then, she was confident that she was going to win, that she was going to win out over Roberta, that she was going to be the one moving in. Roberta was going to be out on her ass. And that, she would live off of Ken, and Ken would take care of her. Well, Ken put a giant monkey wrench into that plan with what he did. And I think everything after that was just, calculated risk and deciding, what can I do? If I can't be the queen, and now he's going to try to control me out of fear of him going to jail, she lost control of the situation. So she just had to get the fuck out of there. And she had to sell him out.
Yeah.
But she also was trying to save her own skin. And one of the things that Kathy said was, what about the lawyer that she claims that she never talked to? Kathy mentioned that, the lawyer was the one that told grandma to go in the wheelchair to make it seem more sympathetic. And the lawyer also told her that when she was interviewed, if she had to do any kind of mental health assessment, to just be as crazy as humanly possible so that it would look good for her defense. And according to Kathy, that's what she did. So it calls lots of things into question, because I think that she knows the right things to say and the right things to do in order to access certain things in the mental health system. She knows the scripts to get what she wants.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people do. And a lot of people can easily manipulate the mental health system if they know the right things to say. And when you're coached by a lawyer, sure. I mean, yeah, you could certainly, guide anyone to a diagnosis that you want. So, but I do find it very interesting that she almost never mentions Roberta by name.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. I've noticed that.
And it could be out of guilt, or it could literally be out of callousness. That says she just wasn't a person, so she doesn't have a name.
Maybe she's afraid that if she says the name, that it somehow summons the ghost of her. That, and then, or maybe that it just gets us talking more about her. Oh, well, and especially if she says the name, then if she says the name Roberta Laws, then other people who are not hip to what we know about her will look it up on their own, and they'll determine that, this is a grift and a scam.
Well, I think that if she said the name, she's going to crack one way or the other. I think that she knows enough about herself that if she says her name, then people might find the truth. So she don't want to say it, because they're going to know the truth if she says her name. She knows that in the back of her mind.
Oh, yeah.
Later, when he was moving her, I remember him commenting about how heavy dead bodies are.
Yeah, it's called dead weight, Mary. So
For
a reason, Mary.
But dead bodies don't, they don't fall into rigor mortis. They don't get heavy until hours afterwards. And
Mary,
rigor mortis doesn't add weight, you dumb bitch.
it's just a stiffening of the muscles, Mary, and a lawyer would be very strongly telling you right now, be quiet. Especially when you're talking about rigor mortis in a body, because that's showing that you kind of timed it. It's like, oh, well, her body's starting to get stiff now. That took how many hours? Mary, this is...
average.
Mary, a live body, for instance, if I like say someone breaks their leg and you're trying to carry them, the point is that they're still alive and then can aid in the reduction of how heavy they feel by holding on to you or doing something else to support their own weight. A dead body can't support its own weight because they're dead. So even if rigor mortis doesn't set in, a dead body is infinitely more heavy because it is not helping and assisting and supporting itself when you're trying to carry it.
Yeah. You know what? It reminds me of the Daniel Radcliffe movie Swiss Army Human. I haven't seen that, but I've seen the trailer for it, and it really looks like a beautiful movie. Have you ever seen Swiss Army Human?
No.
Have to look that up. But anyway. Basically, he's Daniel Radcliffe is out in the woods and he's trying to survive, and he has to use a dead body as like a Swiss Army tool. So it's a weird movie.
Sorry.
My mind might have been jumping around, so it might have been hours afterwards, but in my mind it wasn't, and so I'm wondering if maybe he hadn't killed her before taking me to my grandmother's, and then when we got back, he locked me in the truck, and I think he had sex with her dead body.
Mary, shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God, Mary. That literally never happened. That literally never happened because the autopsy would have determined this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Point one.
Can I also ask a question?
Go ahead.
How does one lock one inside of a car?
You don't. He
No.
claimed the car alarm was going to go off, though, but I don't think it had a car alarm, and even if it did, the neighbors were relatively close. She would have been inside the house before he came out and saw which way she ran.
And what's one more car alarm in Florida? Come on, Mary.
Yeah. Well, in that neighborhood, I kind of got the impression they didn't go off a lot. But anyway. But no, my point is, just because it's in your head doesn't mean that's reality. Oh, Mary.
Anyway. Mary. She's just trying to say whatever shit she thinks will help make her look less innocent. Or, well, look less guilty, I mean. But it just makes her look less innocent. So, yeah.
And then came out and got me. But I don't fully know. I don't know what happened.
Then don't speculate, Mary. That's the easiest thing to do, is to not speculate about that. You know what? The easiest thing for you to do is to just say, Kenneth took me from the truck, showed me Roberta's body. That's it. Yeah.
And I have my own theory of who actually done did it, and I know not everyone agrees with me on it.
Mm-hmm.
But Mary, are you saying that the other person who I think done did it actually done did it before you went away on vacation? Is that what you're admitting to? Because 2 days versus 5 weeks, it's still going to be hard for the coroner to pin down.
Sorry about that if the mic caught a sneeze on that, so.
Oh, no, I didn't hear it.
Okay. Anyway.
Maureen's right.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I watched too much Investigation Discovery.
Oh. This will make the most interesting episode of Law and Order for that revival that they're having next year. So this year, this year,
my 2022 prediction is going to come true. By the end of this year, this case is probably going to make it on My Favorite Murder podcast.
Easily, yeah.
Is that the name of the podcast, or are you just not naming it? I mean, and I don't. That came out
that's actually a podcast.
Oh, okay.
This one is by the end of 2022. Somehow, some way, this is going to end up on that podcast.
Yeah, and I meant that to come out sounding like unironic. I'm sorry. tired. It's 1 a.m. over here.
Yeah, it's like just 11:05 right now. Happy New Year to everybody in Chicago. So here, I'm going to throw a link. Please have a headset. Okay. And we will pull into on the air. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to keep an eye on the Discord right now, and and that way anybody who joins us in the waiting lobby, I'll pull them into on the air. So yeah, Mary, let's get back to you here.
Strangled her. I know he did have sex with her during. I don't know the exacts. I don't know.
How do you know that for sure, Mary, if you allegedly weren't in the house?
How do you know that, Mary? For someone who says that they were in the truck, how do you know that they were having sex, Mary?
Oh, wait, because you fucked up in a now deleted video, which I will always remind you of, where you admitted to being in the house.
Mm-hmm. That's right, Mary. Caught you on another of your lies, Mary.
Yeah, she deleted that real quick.
Oh, yeah. But AP got it, didn't he?
AP got it, and I believe Hatman has it too.
Yeah.
Happened. Whether it was before or after. I do know that we had been arguing a lot, that I had been
arguing over the fact that Roberta was in your way, and you just kept on and on and on, get rid of her, get rid of her. That was your argument, Mary. That was your argument with Kenneth, was that you just wanted to get rid of Roberta.
Mm-hmm.
So, caught you in a lie by your omission of what you were saying there.
telling him that I wanted to just move back in with my grandmother, which was also hard for me. A lot of people are saying, well, you said you didn't want to live with your grandmother. I didn't. After I moved out of my husband's, after I left my husband, I moved in with my grandmother, and things were difficult, as any adult living with their grandparent would be, because she was very controlling, and I was at an age where I didn't want to be controlled. My mental health issues also cause a lot of not wanting to be controlled, and a lot of feeling attacked, or feeling things that aren't real.
There's a good point to kind of pause and reflect on that. Okay, so her mental health issues are, if anybody is showing her authority, she is defiant of that to the last bit of her. So if her parents are trying to say, Mary, we need you to go to school, and she screams obscenities at them, and she does what she wants, and she just goes out to the mall or something like that. Mary.
So often I would feel like I was hated. I would feel like I wasn't really wanted there. And
you made yourself feel unwanted by your, constant battling with everybody else in the family, and everybody else who's trying to get along with you, and you're just so determined to live your own life that, you just scream fuck you to everyone else who's trying to help you. That's your problem, Mary. So
Grandma was trying to help you be a functioning adult.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you married Steve in 2004 when you were 19. You separated and moved back in with Grandma around 2006, so you were 21. 21's a little old to be doing the whole, you can't tell me what to do, you can't control me. That's something 15-year-olds do. You're a little too old for that.
Yeah, and 21 is the time where legally you better be paying your half of the rent if you're expected to be, staying with somebody. So if you're not paying rent, you better have a very good reason why you're not paying rent. And, Mary doesn't have any of those good reasons. She just burns out her invite You know, whichever she would have gone back to her grandma's, it would have been uncomfortable, but she would have gone back to her grandma's if Kenneth had not done the thing with Roberta. So,
Yeah. And that's ultimately where she ended up after all of this. Roberta passed in 2009, trial was in 2011. Mary was living back with grandma after Ken got arrested, and she lived in that condo until approximately a year after grandma's death. Grandma died in 2015, so Mary was there till the end of 2016, beginning of 2017.
yeah.
So,
Mary, let's see what other lies will catch you in this video.
So that was a big part of me not wanting to live with her. Kenneth had been planning what he did to Roberta. I don't know how long, but I know that he had been planning it.
Well, the court documents said that he had been contemplating it for about 2 weeks, but that's only basically where she just kept nonstop nagging the shit out of Kenneth to just go, oh, do whatever it takes, do whatever it takes, do whatever it takes. You know, she had this intense hatred for Roberta at that point, and every day that Roberta existed in that house was another day that Mary just could not stand it, could not accept it between her and Kenneth and Roberta. So
He was looking for somebody else with severe mental health issues that he could control afterwards.
no, I think you're making that up about Kenneth. That's a fucking lie right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, and the thing that's kind of damning for her is that, in Kenneth's statements was that he was thinking about it, but not making any plans. But she's saying that, and she's saying it in real time, that she knew that he was thinking about it, which means he discussed it with her based on what she's saying here. So if she knew that there was the potential for Roberta to be in danger, and they got into a fight, there was a higher than likely, assumption that, he'd be a threat to Roberta, and she had weeks to let somebody know.
She had weeks to tell Roberta because they were alone in the house together all day.
Yeah, and she had weeks to tell the authorities that, hey, my boyfriend, who was trying to control me and he moved me in, is plotting to kill, his girlfriend, his wife, or whatever. So the fact that she's saying now that she knew that he was thinking about it in the weeks leading up to it
Makes her accomplice. Makes her an accomplice.
You knew that.
Doesn't make her an accomplice yet, but it certainly makes her look a lot even worse than what she keeps talking.
It makes her an accessory because she knew and didn't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
or at the very least complicit.
It makes her a callous, immoral person.
It definitely it piles on the depraved indifference at that point.
Hey Mary, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Do it now, but because I know Hatman and AP already have this, but you may want to delete this video because you're pretty much admitting to you knew and didn't do jack shit about it.
Oh, I'm very tempted to just send a USB flash drive to the Florida prosecutors. It's like, hey, take a look at this video. That way they'll have it. Yeah.
What's really strange is that no one came to the defense of saying that, one of the reasons that she wouldn't know, like one of the excuses that wasn't brought up was that she had no idea because she was her living caregiver and she was taking such good care of it. It was just kind of glossed over, like she wasn't caring for Roberta at all. Which means that what I really feel sad for is what kind of level of psychological, emotional, physical, abuse did Roberta incur from the moment that Mary moved in before she was even murdered? And what kind of level of neglect, emotionally and physically, did Roberta endure in the weeks leading up to, the situation? Because I find it difficult to believe that Mary took care of Roberta at all because she really just wanted to be the queen of the house. So
Yeah.
I just feel as though they probably treated her like absolute shit in the weeks and whatever leading up to her death.
I'm thinking of a situation hypothetically where Roberta is like in the room with Kenneth and Mary, and they're like watching television, and Roberta is thirsty and she wants to get like a Pepsi or something like that. And she says, Kenneth, can you get a Pepsi, please? So Kenneth goes up to the kitchen, gets two Pepsis, but one for him and one for Mary. So he just, basically just completely disregards Mary, or I mean, disregards Roberta by, giving Mary the attention that Roberta's craving. So,
I can also see a sadder portrayal of this where, Roberta's, incapacitated in her bedroom.
yeah.
Decided to stick her while she could hear those two having God knows what kind of
Yeah.
intercourse in another room and
I don't want to think about
her
that.
boyfriend, sleeping with her caregiver. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine Mary keeping this information from Roberta. I can, just based on her personality, I feel like it would almost be utilizing it in a taunting nature. Like you should just leave. Like he wants me. Like I'm here because he loves me. I can hear these conversations in my mind about what she probably was saying to Roberta before she, the lead up to when Roberta was murdered.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to remind everyone that Roberta's severity of cerebral palsy was not that severe. Her wheelchair wasn't a motorized one. It was one of the manual ones from the hospital. She could walk some, but it was difficult. So she did use the wheelchair for the most part, but she was pretty much independent. She had full motor function in her upper body. She wasn't mentally deficient in any way whatsoever. To hire Mary in quotes as her caregiver, it was more of a companionship, to have a friend, to have someone else around the house all day, so she wasn't lonely.
Yeah.
Because people that they think cerebral palsy and they just think, oh my God, she was as bad as Ronnie Jr. She was in a motorized wheelchair. My niece has cerebral palsy. Yeah, my niece has CP. She has leg braces that are probably she's not going to need in the next couple months. She's 6, and she runs around like a little maniac.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually with her, it's mostly cognitive, but she can talk, she can think clearly. Like, it's depending on the amount of oxygen deprivation in the birth canal, really depends on how severe the defect is.
And Ken makes it very clear in his statements that that was his new girlfriend. That was his belief. That was what he reported to the prosecution. That's what he attested to. So it wasn't as though that he had brought her in under the guise of a job and then was going to attempt to groom her. Like, she knew what it was going in, and she doesn't dispute that was, she just said my Ken, my boyfriend, whatever. Like, she knew what the relationship was. It wasn't like he tried to bring her in under false pretenses. They were having a relationship, probably started online, and he brought her in and she went because she needed somewhere to go and she needed somebody to care for her because she wants to be taken care of for the rest of her life, whether it be by a man, a woman, or the government. That is her aim, to be taken care of forever.
Looking for a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. Yeah.
Looking for a sugar anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And she would move in with some old lady, or the guys are taking care of her while she's getting drunk in that old lady's house and neglecting her. And I mean, you're just inviting chaos if you think that Mary's going to come in and take care of you. Your life is going to be bad.
She just has such a transparency to her that you just read through her narcissism right away. And if you're not careful, she gets too close to you, and then stuff starts disappearing. Pills start, going missing from your medicine cabinet, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'm gonna go back to her video.
That was the whole reason that he messaged me, because at the time I had a Craigslist post up saying that I had these problems. That was schizoaffective, and he responded to an ad saying explaining that I had pretty severe mental health issues. He knew exactly what he was looking for.
X to doubt.
Yeah, X to doubt that, Mary.
Why would you be? Why Craigslist?
Yeah.
Why would you post that on Craigslist? Like, that's not what that site is for. I'm confused.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a generic site to throw out there that Craigslist probably, goes through so much data every day that they delete all kinds of posts every day because it would just flood their network to have like posts from like 2013 about somebody selling a bicycle to somebody else. So her claim of a Craigslist post, really fucking sketchy. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't think met by Craigslist, but I think she was answering what she thought was a legitimate. Oh no, because Craigslist had personals back in the day. She was answering a personal.
Mm-hmm.
He put the ad out. She was answering a personal ad. Yeah, no, it was his ad, not hers. Stupid bitch.
Yeah. And back then, yeah, Craigslist was still kind of. I'm surprised that she wasn't on any kind of like dating websites or anything like that. But with a face like hers, yeah, she's kind of stuck on Craigslist. So
no,
yeah.
And you know what? I fully believe if she was a nicer person inside, she would be very pretty outside.
Yeah. If she was a nicer, more kinder, caring person, then you look past the facial features, you look past the hair, you look past all the other things, but the ugliness inside of her magnifies the ugliness outside of her. So
yep.
He first messaged me. I was looking for a long-term relationship to replace the one that I had just left, my husband.
The one that you had just manipulated. Yeah, the one you had manipulated, Mary. Let's be honest about that. You left your previous husband because you just manipulated your husband into having sex with underage girls, and you were helping your husband grooming on that. So, Mary, your claims of that you're looking for someone to be a provider, you were looking for someone you could blackmail, more like. And with your first husband, there's nothing to blackmail. There was nothing for him to give to you. So, yeah, happy be year, Sacktown Steelers fan. So, but Mary, this claim that you're looking for a long-term relationship, you're looking for a long-term provider, someone who'll just provide you money, and that way you don't have to think about anything. Provide for your addictions, provide your weed, your alcohol, provide your food, provide your shelter. Just that way you don't.
I cannot imagine the level of rage that Mary was probably stewing on, because I don't doubt that the guy lied to her about his situation, his
Oh yeah, he probably did.
His relationship status, and then to drop everything, go meet up with this guy, go move in, only to find that he lied. Now you didn't think you were going to have to contend with anyone, and now you have this person you have to contend with. That's where I worry about the level of callousness and your thoughts on this other woman in the house.
What if it was Kenneth's ad on Craigslist that she was responding to? What if Kenneth is the one posting, looking for woman for threesome kind of thing, and Mary just happens to look at this and say, "Oh, well, maybe these two will provide for me," and she gets this idea in her head. Oh, I've hit double, a sugar daddy and a sugar mama. The thought.
I just want Piers Morgan to go interview Ken.
Yeah, I think we should definitely set this up. So
I was looking for a man to take care of me. This year I've received so many comments telling me I need to just find a man to take care of me. And I've already tried that route, and it's a dangerous fucking route.
you don't need a man to take care of you, Mary. You
No.
need to learn how to take care of yourself first and foremost. And like I've said, there are jobs out there that you don't have to worry about facing the public, that will pay you very, very well, that you don't have to resort to cyber begging, that you would just basically flip the digital data hamburgers and you would have a relatively sane and comfortable life. But you choose the craziness by making these pity donation grift videos. So pity poor Mary, pity
Yep.
poor Mary, because oh, I have memory issues and I conveniently blacked out during the death of Roberta Laws. So
Yeah. And Mary, just you want a man to take care of you. Well, he's gonna want to fuck, and you claim you're asexual and you don't do that. Well, in any relationship, no matter what the terms are, it's a give and take. If you're looking for someone to take care of you, he's gonna want to fuck. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you have to do more than just fuck. Like, if you want him to take care of you and have him work and be the provider, you need to clean the house, cook, do the laundry, help out with the household chores while he's away all day, because I live on my own, I work full time, I have a small apartment, but trying to keep it clean and keep up with everything, it's hard. But we've seen you not clean your apartment. We've seen the bugs on your bathroom sink. We've seen how you don't cook. No, no sane human being who's looking for anything with substance is going to put up with you sitting on your ass smoking weed and playing video games all day.
and here's a thought. Here's a thought on
And
that.
all day, every day, not just once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Putting
And
not and
I
not
don't.
shower and not showering and putting mayonnaise on your head and not showering after putting mayonnaise on your head. It's just, and the only men that'd be interested in that are not the type of men that you should want to associate yourself with, because they're just deplorable human beings.
Her vision of a sugar daddy is like someone who's like a millionaire who has like a big, big mansion, but she gets like one room to herself so that basically she can have her little sanctuary where she can be Adrasdea. She can, do her videos, she can play her video games, she could just be herself, and that room would look basically like this shit Section 8 apartment that she's in right now. It would just be cluttered with all kinds of trash. It would be a mess. She wouldn't have any furniture in it. And the rest of the house, everyone would question the servants, the maid, the butler, the guests to the house. Everyone would question, why, how come Mary gets her own room? And it's like, well, she's special. So yeah,
And
that's that would be Mary. That would be Mary if she actually managed to find a billionaire to, shack up with and live in their mansion. So,
yep.
And what's
And
important, Mary, is that you also have to consider the notion that you're willing to overlook all of the potential traumatic incidences that the people you're involved with cause
mhm.
in order for you to have what you want, covet most. You know, if you can say, PTSD is a very real thing, but it's also the most convenient diagnosis for individuals who refuse to take responsibility for anything. Because, like we talk about with James, so James hates mental illness. He doesn't believe in it, but he believes in PTSD because it's one of the few diagnoses where the cause of the diagnosis is due to something that happened to you, not something that you have done to yourself or you've done to others.
Mhm.
And it's just a very convenient diagnosis when you want something to alleviate responsibility for all of your future and present actions. But Mary, again, like I've told James, PTSD is like a virus. If you have it and it's caused callousness and things in you, you're spreading trauma to other people. Your unwillingness to look at or consider, the feelings of, your ex's grooming of a teenage girl. Who knows what kind of PTSD she suffers from because of your inaction? A person has died because of, your ignorance and your callousness towards this person in the conquest of, what you wanted in life. Your selfishness has also given other people those diagnoses. So when you say, woe is me, it's so hard, it's such a deep hole. That's okay. But at the same time, you should start really thinking about how many of those holes have you dug next to you in those levels of despair because of, you being so within yourself and what you want and what you need, and overlooking all the pain and suffering that the people around you that you get involved with have caused other people to dig a hole right next to you, and sit in that dark hole of despair. You have been a conduit for trauma for other people. And I think that that's the part where your egocentric behavior, your callousness, and your selfishness really takes hold, because you don't really seem to care at all that you can't even imagine, and for one aspect or 1 millisecond, that your reactions and your beliefs and your mental illness could cause so much havoc and trauma in other people's lives because of your unwillingness to decide to get help for it. You are a spider in the web now. You're at the focal point in the assistance of other people's traumas. you know Hurt people hurt people, Mary. It's one of the most cliche things ever, but it's true. Hurt people, and your behaviors hurt people, and it's probably caused trauma for other people. you know your decisions not to try to help prevent those same things that may have happened to you to happen to other people, and just turning a blind eye to it because the convenience for yourself. You've traumatized people, Mary. You participated in the traumas of other people. You had, in some way, participation in the loss of someone from this world. And one can only imagine the amount of trauma that caused anybody that ever loved or cared about that person, if they had anyone in their life. So it's very angering to listen to you talk about, all of your pain, while you just completely turn a blind eye to all the pain that, your pain is causing people. And if you don't want to do that, you are this pure of heart, reborn virgin person that you want to, say you are, then the videos we should be seeing is, of you getting help, of you getting treatment, you going to rehab, you cleaning that apartment, and not making excuses as to why it's okay for you to hurt people and why it was okay for you to hurt people in the past. There's no catharsis, there's no growth, there's no nothing. And I think that's probably the reason why people find it so angering, is that it's more than just being apologetic. It's just so contradictory to everything you're trying to portray.
Yeah. It's like a destruction that, if you can't, I can't even think what I'm wanting to say now. God damn it. Mary has this way of just kind of making you think, how did she come to this? And you stop, and you can't talk right, Mary, because we're trying to explain your behavior, and you just confound the shit out of everyone with your lies. So.
He told me his name was Brian. For months and months, he took me out and he treated me, and I didn't know, I didn't really know anything about him because everything he was saying to me was a lie. He told me a fake name, a fake age, a fake job, a fake everything.
Brian, as in Brian Lefebvre. Boom, I got your money. Boom, I got your wallet. Boom, I got your credit cards. Brian Lefebvre. That Brian, Mary? It,
I, on this actual notion, I actually believe her.
Yeah, I do
yeah.
too.
He moved me into that house for, I want to say about a month. And she was not there. He had taken her out and put her in a hotel room to hide her, to keep me convinced that he was single and wanting to be with me. And I was fucking stupid and easily manipulated and didn't think anything bad could happen.
Yeah, well, to a
Now,
degree, not knowing you're the other woman isn't necessarily being manipulated. I unfortunately have been in those shoes. When I found out there was a fiance, I got the hell out.
Mm-hmm. Mary, your claims of being manipulated by, the other woman aren't really all that true. I mean, I would extra
No.
doubt that.
Well, yeah. Most women who are in who are in our shoes, they find out they're the other woman, they walk away.
Yeah, they're not
They're
they're
angry,
not going to stand for
hard,
that.
that's normal, but they walk away.
Yeah, a woman, if she finds out that her man doesn't really care about her and is keeping her as like a side piece, she is not going to feel value as a human on that. She's going to feel like she's just being used and manipulated. But then she's going to want to leave, Mary. So your choice to stay just confounds us even more.
You know, without any supporting documentation, if I was taking this on face value just by how she's presenting behaviorally, I would say that I think that she's not lying about him putting her elsewhere for a while just to see how it would go. Because I'm sure that he was trying to go to great lengths to make sure that he was going to get what he wanted from the whole point of bringing her there, which was copious amounts of sex.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute here. Go back to the.
That said, I'll just kill her. I never took it seriously. Because in my experience, that's something that people say and not something that they do. I grew up in a house hearing my father threaten to kill us literally every night. It was something that was
Extra
all
down on that.
Yeah, I would say extra doubt on that as well. So.
Your dad wasn't Father of the Year, Mary, and yeah, he cracked on your mom. But he cracked on your mom more than once. He shouldn't have. We can all agree to that. But the amount of abuse you claim went on in that house is not what went down. And your two sisters have confirmed that. So,
Happy New Year. Yep.
always said, and it didn't happen until he killed himself.
Is there a way that we can look up the records on that to see, what the cause of death was in the autopsy report?
he sucked off a shotgun in 2006. That is confirmed.
Yeah. Well, then, that's pretty straightforward on that. There had to have been a lot of contributing factors to, make him want to choose that, because he couldn't take being with the rest of the family anymore because they were driving him crazy. And I'm not saying that Mary, did anything to, encourage this, but there was a lot of toxicity to that household from everybody. And I think that, in the father's mind, he didn't want to hurt anyone else through his anger, and he was afraid that he would. So he had to remove himself before his anger became a threat to anyone around him that he loved. So,
And contrary to what Mary says, their dad loved her brother. Like, he doted on him.
mm-hmm.
So he wasn't. I think he probably had other issues going on besides the whole cracking on the old lady every now and again. There was more going on.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have necessarily been a complete toxic
No, I'm sure they had.
family, but
I'm sure that they had good days. I'm sure that they had very good days with them within the family.
Yeah. But someone, you can have like the best family in the world, but you're dealing with shit. Something could have happened. He never told the rest of the family, and he thought the only way out was to off himself. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, there's all kinds.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to Mary.
In that house, if you knocked on my older sister's door, she'd threaten to kill you.
I think just you.
I don't know. Yeah, that's an X to doubt on that as well, because I think that maybe she's just making herself so loud and so obnoxious that everyone is just basically shouting, "Get out of here, Mary, or I'll kill you," kind of thing. They don't mean it, of course. They're far, they would never, the thought would never cross their minds, but it's just, you're infuriating me right now. Get out of here, or my rage is going to make me do something. And, they don't want you to be victim to that. So I think she was just, antagonizing a lot of the situations to where she would force them to say that. It's a thought. Anyway.
It was, these things were thrown around so flippantly my entire existence that it was just an offhand, stupid joke.
No, it wasn't an offhand, stupid joke. It was basically a way to get you out of the fucking room, Mary. I think that's what it was. So.
Anytime it was said, it never entered my mind that somebody would say that and it would be a serious thing. Now, because I've experienced it and I know that those things that other people say as jokes flippantly over and over again, some other people would use as, they really do that. Now I do take these things more seriously.
Hey, Mary, you remember what I said on the first stream that I had about you? About how in a few hours I was going to explode the sun? I meant that, Mary. I'm going to explode the sun. It's going to be fantastic. 2022 is going to be a year of complete darkness. There's going to be no sunlight for anybody, Mary. Everything's going to freeze, Mary. Crops are going to die. People are going to be shivering in their houses, wishing that the sun would come back. Mary, you take everything so fucking seriously. Do you think she took seriously my threat to explode the sun?
Probably for not long enough to do a video about it, but long enough she thought about it.
For Mail 4, I want AP to at least throw in a clip from Star Trek Generations of the rocket, shooting up to the sun, and everything just goes boom. And it just goes dark for a moment.
Her heart rate might have increased briefly.
The mere thought of the sun exploding and the planet freezing and everybody dying. So yeah, that would get your heart racing too. Unless you had common fucking sense, Mary. Oh my goodness.
And I get scared because I don't know the difference between what's a joke and what's real anymore. even back then, it was hard for me to tell what's real and what's not. And
Back then, it was hard for you to tell what was real and what wasn't. So you just nagging the shit out of Ken, saying, get rid of Roberta over and over and over. You didn't understand how permanent death was at that time. You just thought, oh, just kill her, get rid of her kind of thing. You were just saying it, just that kind of flippancy that everybody was saying towards you when everybody wanted you to get out of the room. They just like, get out of here, Mary, or I'll kill you. So you're just taking that to this, kind of logic of Roberta is now the one invading your space. Get out of here, Roberta, or I'll kill you, kind of thing. That's your mentality, Mary.
Well, there's two problems here. So one, I've seen her react to things that are just completely nonsensical and would never happen, and seen her react as though they are. So she's telling a semblance of truth there, but she's also said, well, when people in my house would say they were going to kill somebody, like I never took it seriously. But then, literally less than 5 minutes later, she's saying, well, I never know what's real or what's not. So it's tough because, again, like James, she's consistently inconsistent. When it suits the purpose, saying like, I'm not sure because of my mental illness what's real and what's not real. But then saying, well, I've heard people say this a million times, and I've been unfazed by it most of my life. I've heard a million people say it, and I never thought anything of it. It's like, okay, well, which one is it? But the problem doesn't come out to how you got here, because I think he was probably really deceptive in getting her to his place and in his clutches. But in her own statement right there, she's saying, well, at the point in time where she was aware of who this person was, and he's saying like, I should just kill her. So she's aware that this woman exists. She's aware of what the relationship is between, this Ken and Roberta, but yet she's still there. So her timeline is like, she's throwing bits and pieces in for justification, but it doesn't match the whole timeline of when did you know that they were together? And then that's only when things matter. When you found out that Ken lied to you, his name, his age, everything was bullshit, you're still there. You're still there. So how and why are you still there? That's all that matters now.
It was either that or go back to her grandma. And she would rather, choose, something new over her grandma, I think. So it wasn't a perfect situation, but it was better than going back to her grandma for her. So anyway, I'll get back to her video.
when everybody is saying that I'm lying about that, just because they don't want to accept that they have spent a year harassing and mentally abusing.
Okay. Okay, so us exposing the truth about the death of Roberta Laws, and you consider this to be harassment? That's not harassment, Mary. That's exposing a liar, first and foremost.
Somebody with pretty severe mental health issues, and I didn't lie.
And you didn't lie. Well, at least, you know what? She just didn't remember that she lied. So she didn't lie by not remembering her lies.
None of the documents that y'all have provided have shown any lies.
Oh, quite the contrary. I think, a lot of them have shown you were very much lying to cover your own ass, Mary.
Now, there are things that I maybe didn't understand, didn't know, misremembered.
Like how you misremembered being tied to a bed, Mary, for 5 weeks? How did you misremember that? How did you, misremember something where you didn't even have the ligature marks around your wrists to prove your story, Mary? Is that misremembering?
But
And that's even, it's more than misremembering that. It's, she put in her book she was held captive for 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't tell the cops that when it happened,
No.
allegedly.
No.
So, yeah, no. You also don't remember allegedly. Oh, you allegedly don't remember buying the shovel. You don't remember going to the Salvation Army to donate Roberta's commode and wheelchair, and you don't remember going to the pawn shop and pawning off some of her other shit for money.
Later in this video, she says that everybody's making a big deal about her signature being on a pawn ticket for the Salvation Army, and she has no memory of that. It doesn't matter what your memory is on that, Mary. It's the fact that your signature's on the fucking pawn ticket. That's what matters. Yeah.
I haven't actively backtracked anything. I haven't changed anything. In my mind, the story as it is the way it happened, and is true, and is the way that I presented it.
But just because that's what's in your mind doesn't mean that's reality.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Mary, I can say that it rained today in Pueblo. And other people are going to say, well, I was outside all day and it didn't rain a drop. When I just stick to my story. Well, it rained today. So are you calling me a liar? Because I have mental health issues. That's kind of what your story sounds like, Mary. Your story is you making this shit up. And it sounds like, you want it to sound as fantastic as possible, but also you want it to cover your ass as well. So you make shit up, like Kenneth was having sex with a dead body. That's bullshit. We know that. The autopsy report would have definitely confirmed that. So.
Now, from where we go from here, I don't know.
From where we go from here is you just stop making these crazy fucking videos. But you know what? I know you're not going to do that because I've got 5 more videos to go through after this one. And we still got 4 minutes, 49 seconds to review on this one. So there's a lot of craziness that you've been posting, Mary.
Because I still struggle with a lot of mental health issues. And I have very little support.
The reason why you have very little support is because you are so untrustworthy. Okay? The moment that people are around you, you make them feel uncomfortable through your constant guilt tripping, through making them feel like they owe you existence, that they have to pay for you, or you're just you're gonna suffer, you're gonna die.
I have so much pushing against me that it feels impossible and it feels hopeless. And
the only thing that's pushing against you right now is what's holding you back, and that's yourself, Mary. Okay? And like I said, we're not saying to just admit we're not caring about Roberta Laws any more than you care about Roberta Laws, Mary. What we care about is you ending these videos where you pity grift people into giving you money all the time, and it never helps your situation. The one thing that helps your situation is getting a job, Mary. Like I said, I pay over $900 a month for my apartment. That's 30 times what you pay every month. Mary, that's I would cover what I pay in rent would cover 3 years worth easily of rent for you. But no one's going to put themselves to do that for you because you make yourself so toxic and untrustworthy, and you don't want to be. You make it so you are unappreciative of the people trying to help you with gifts.
All of these things that these people are saying about me feel very, very true. And it has caused a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety in me. And it needs to stop,
Then you stop it, Mary. You're the one who has the keys to stopping it. Why aren't you stopping it? Simple. AP has said it best when he appeared in the third dimension on Daywave. and he said, Mary, just leave YouTube right now because it's obviously not good for your mental health. Leave YouTube, and AP does not have to make Mayo 4, and he does not have to release the over 400 pages of documents that he has about you. That he has. He's not waiting on them. He has them, Mary.
All of the documents are out. You can see it in black and white. You can see for yourself.
Another textbook of narcissism is when they say, well, you can see it in black and white. Well, this whole story is just muddled in fucking gray, Mary. There is no black and white to this story. This is just complete grayness that you dragged Ken into, that you got Roberta killed with because of.
And then go back and listen to their stories and add it up, and you'll see that they have been adding what they needed to add to make it my fault.
Hang on just a second. I'll let the video play for a moment here. Just a moment.
For a year. And it wasn't my fault. It wasn't anything that I wanted to happen. It wasn't anything that I did myself. And it was a crime that somebody else has already pled full accountability for. So the idea that you people are going to torture me for the rest of my life for a crime that somebody else is serving a sentence for that pled guilty. And y'all said, well, he didn't plead guilty until the trial. No, he pled guilty, immediately.
No, he pled guilty after the trial when the jury was going into deliberations, Mary.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah, it was basically an, oh shit, the jury is probably going to find me guilty and sentence me to death. He did that basically to spare his own life at that point.
Yeah, he only pled guilty because he thought he didn't want to get the death penalty. That's the only reason.
He never lied about it. I haven't lied about it. It hurts that so many
He
people...
implicated you.
Yeah.
He implicated you for 2 years. I don't know why they did that motion of principle. I really don't know, because it would have gotten him off. But
at the very least, he would have seen that both accountable people were held responsible for their crime. So, do you think maybe Kenneth had a moment of pity as well for Mary and decided, oh, he didn't want to put her through that, so maybe Kenneth thinks he's going to spare Mary a lethal injection as well?
That's the only thing that makes sense, but it's jury instructions on how to determine his guilt versus how to determine the amount of his culpability and guilt in relation to what he was being charged with. It wasn't an immunity deal or a plea deal as far as Mary's concerned. So
well, I think in the end, what it came down to is that he probably initially thought about trying to pin it on her, but the thing that saved her ass was that she went and got help and dimed him out. I mean, in the end, it's going to be really hard for, as much as she can be really good, if you didn't follow her like people follow her, right?
Yeah.
Just if you had like a one-time deal with Mary, would she seem like a very sympathetic person? Could she come off as being, disabled and, confused and like on a one-time deal? Sure. And, she did the right thing in the end. In the end, she did the right thing, and she squealed, and thankfully for her sake. If they both would have not squealed, they'd both be behind bars, or he'd be dead by lethal injection. She'd still be behind bars right now.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be behind bars. But her saving grace was that she did the right thing in that moment. And I think it would be really hard for him to throw her under the bus where she was the the only reason that they even found her, because they even admitted we wouldn't have known for a
Yeah.
long time, if ever, had she not come forward. So in the end, I think that that's how she skates on that. And I think that's why they kind of said, we could try to get her up there, but it could actually make it worse, because if what Mary was saying was true about the internet and him lying about his age and lying about his identity and all the other things that he had done, and did he put her in a hotel, that would have led to the notion that there could have been steps where he was planning to replace her and premeditation, and then he would have got the needle. So I think they made a judgment call and said, look, we can go after her, but I'm going to tell you right now that you're almost guaranteeing yourself the death chamber. If we go this way, because if we have to get into all this, that looks like that on the surface. If I'm a judge or a jury, I'm looking at that and saying, okay, this is not, murder too. This isn't a crime of passion where I went and just strangled her. This was months in the making, that you were actively looking to replace Roberta with this new girlfriend. That would have went like Chris Watts level shit, and I think his attorney probably realized that it ain't worth it. It ain't worth trying to pin this on someone else. And he'd already confessed that he had strangled her. He wasn't a sophisticated guy. He didn't try to cover his tracks. He didn't do a good job. He bungled. He fumbled the bag as far as the crime went.
Yeah.
So in the end, I think the only reason that she didn't get more heat turned on her is because it just would have opened up Pandora's box of all the shit that he was doing behaviorally that looked like he was he only attested to, well, I thought about killing her, but I didn't really make any attempts. But if someone starts saying he went online, created a Craigslist ad, faked his name, faked his age, was trying to find a hookup, brought this girl down, had her move into his house, it would have looked really bad for him. Yeah. So they just focused on the crime in that 20 minutes instead of the month or months leading up to it, and just let him take the L. They had him dead to rights for life anyway. That's the best they could have hoped for. Yeah, I'm sure the prosecutor wanted to do more. It was probably like, no, fuck this guy. Like, I'm going to kill this guy. Yeah, and I think that that's also why the judge, said, yeah, no, despite the fact that it was on the table, I'm ruling life.
Yeah, I think the judge gave him life without parole because even though the jury instructions were you're only to look at him, I kind of get the feeling he was like, there's more to this story. I can't sentence this man to death when his co-conspirator has never been officially charged or investigated.
Yeah, that's a very good thinking on that. And my thinking is like how the Kyle Rittenhouse judge Schroeder would have said, the crime is a matter of seconds. That's exactly it. The true crime happened the moment that Mary is just screaming over and over and over, get rid of Roberta, while she's in the truck with Kenneth. Kenneth says, all right, and gets out, slams the truck door, goes out, comes back a half hour later and says it's done. So that's the kind of, that's when the crime happened. It didn't happen, before, the nagging definitely led, up to it, but, the real crime, the planning of it, was in that heated half an hour. So anyway, I'll go back into the video.
Believe that I've lied. Even with the documents out there, they're still saying, see, this proves that you murdered her. This proves that you buried her. This is a receipt that you went to Salvation Army. And I genuinely do not remember going to the Salvation Army. Like, no matter how many times y'all tell me there's a receipt with my name on it, that memory is not in my mind.
Mary, it's not about the memory in your mind. It's about your signature on the receipt. That's what it's about. Mary. Mary, Mary. Quite contrary.
I remember him digging a grave. I do not remember helping with that. I remember him burying her. I do not remember helping with that. These are not, me trying to take away accountability. This is genuinely, after I saw her body, I kind of went into a weird state, and my memories for the next couple of days are very jumbled and garbled and
That makes more sense. Yeah, I believe it, because that
Yeah, I believe
something.
that.
Yeah, because the death of Roberta had to have been triggering such a dissociative state in her that her mind is racing in a million different directions. She's worried that it could all come to an end. The cops could come any moment, busting through the door. She's worried that that the neighbors might, ask, "Hey, where's Roberta? We haven't seen her." And she's worried that Ken might squeal and say, "Well, you're Mr. Policeman, my girlfriend Mary just kept nagging me over and over and over to, get rid of Roberta. So I did."
Mary, if you want to, Mary, if you want to do a video that makes sense, that puts a lot of things to rest. You talk about everything leading up to that day. You talk about that day after the murder, but you won't ever talk about the argument that happened in the truck when he got out of the truck and went in there. Because rather than that, you're saying, "Oh, I think she was actually dead long before that." So if that's what you really believe, then what was the argument you and he had in the truck that day? That's what people really want to know. What was the argument? And your response will probably be, "I have mental health issues. My memory's fuzzy. I can't recall." I mean, I'll save you time making a video then. But that would be the thing that the inquiring minds want to know. I think that's where your absolution is like, what was this argument about? What were you saying? What was he saying? What was this argument? Because he's saying this was the argument and this is what happened. And he seems to be, for as much as he lied too, that seems to be, an honest recollection of that day. So you lean over that carefully, like you don't even say, so that's what I'd like to know. What was the argument you guys had that day? What was it about? Because according to your aunt, there's always been it's Mary's way or the highway. To this day, you're still that way. It's your way or the highway. When you really want something, you'll temper tantrum to get it. So why would that day or anything leading up to that, when you found out that he had a girlfriend, be any different? You had to have been angry about the situation, just based on you haven't changed behaviorally ever when it comes to those things. So why would this situation be any different? So that's why the argument makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. So my question, Mary, is when you found out that he had a girlfriend, he lied out of his ass to you, were you pissed? What was your reaction to that? Were you pissed? Were you pissed off? And then, how did you express being pissed off to him about all of his bullshit? And then what happened? Because that's really the only thing that can absolve you of this scenario, truthfully, is the things that you're tiptoeing around.
Mary just, her subconscious wants to reveal what happened, but it would expose the grift. It would bring an end to everything, and then she wouldn't be able to get people to send her pity donations anymore. So let me get back to her video here.
some are gone completely. That's not something I can control. And no matter how much you guys push this information on me, you're not going to be able to force me to remember these things that I cannot remember.
we're not forcing you to remember these things, but we are pointing out that it isn't about your memory, Mary. It's, the fact that you don't remember being in a Salvation Army, okay, that we understand. But you signed the ticket. That signature proves you were there, so it doesn't matter what your memory thinks. So,
I'm sorry, but it's just not how my brain works. My brain obviously does not work like yours.
no, it doesn't, Mary. Your brain works by lying all the time, grifting people, manipulating them, trying to get them to do what you want so that you can live the nice, easy, free lifestyle that you think you're entitled to. That's how your mind works.
You have spent a year profiting off of the torture of a schizophrenic, bipolar woman with CPTSD. And you have been saying over and over again that 2022 is going to be the same thing.
No, Mary. 2022 is not going to be the same as 2021 or 2020. 2022 is going to be much, much worse for you because that's when all of your lies just come collapsing down around you. 2022 is going to be your undoing, Mary. You are going to get off the internet one way. Either you'll choose to, not make videos anymore and you'll say, you know what, it's not worth it for me. Or YouTube is going to yeet your channel. So, one way or another, you will be removed from YouTube on this.
Another year of torture and profiting off of an extremely mentally ill woman who has no support and nobody to help her. And you know it's wrong. All of you that are making these videos and demonizing me when you know what the facts are.
You're the demon, Mary. We're just trying to help people understand how the demon operates, okay? You're the demon.
You know it's wrong. Especially my family. Especially my family.
She used that little bit pause there and repeated those words, especially my family, for that little extra dramatic effect, because she wants to divert the attention away from her. She wants everybody to think that it's her family that started all this attacking her. So, yeah.
And hate to do this here, Randolph, but I'm gonna peace out. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. So yeah.
I'll be listening when I fall asleep.
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year. I'll probably be on tomorrow because I'll want to do like a New Year's Day stream. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'll come up with. I've been looking at some Andrew Finch stuff and I'm like thinking, God, I just want to fucking punch that guy for being an idiot. So, hey, we might, you know what? I think I'll just bring Andrew Finch onto the LolCow Ranch tomorrow.
I feel like I know the name.
Oh yeah. I was watching some of his videos yesterday with Dr. Till, and that dude is Andrew Finch is like he's a different kind of fucked up. So anyway.
Looking forward to it.
I don't know. Better be prepared for some pretty shocking images of like diaper bed sores and shit like that. So, all right. Anyway.
Wait, Finch or Ditch?
Finch, like a bird.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the one who wears the adult diapers and who's like pretending that he's like autistic.
That's Ditch, D-I-T-C-H, Andrew Ditch from outside of Buffalo, New York.
No, Finch, like a bird, Finch.
That's odd because there's an Andrew Ditch outside of Buffalo, claims to have severe autism. He doesn't. Likes to wear adult diapers because he's got a poop kink. Oh, that's too funny. It's two different people with the same thing. Oh my.
Huh. I thought his real name was Finch, but it is Ditch.
I'm looking at a guy right now called Andrew Ditch, Mr. Ditch, the Poopy Pants Files.
And I'm sure that there's an
that-
Andrew Finch as well, because I'm going to look on my end here.
Because if it's two different people with the same thing, oh, that would be that's there. You have my attention.
Yeah. Well, the Andrew Finch is from Wichita, Kansas, and no, that Andrew Finch was killed in a swatting mistake. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
This one guy was arrested for impersonating the Tonawanda police, charged with spiking food.
Oh yeah, he tried to kill his family. He put Epsom salts in their Keurig reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate him with the passion of 1,000 fiery suns.
Yeah. He's going to be a fun LolCow. I'm going to have to build a specially reinforced pen for Andrew on that one.
He needs a special pen. He needs to learn how to use his hay properly when he poops.
Mm-hmm. If not, I'm going to have a series of fire hoses that'll just come on at like random intervals and just hose him down. So he'll be clean one way or another. So
yeah, bad Andy.
I don't have to say
but on
that
that note, I will see you guys in the morning or tomorrow at some point.
Happy New
Good
Year,
night.
Maureen.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Okay, so and back to this.
Family is abusive anymore, because if you go to my aunt's channel and watch her videos, you can hear the abuse in every word that she says. Just watch those videos and imagine saying those things to a family member struggling, and then calling yourself a loving member of the family. You might love your family, but you know I was never a part of your family. And you never gave a damn about anybody that wasn't in your family.
Alright, next video. My story has not changed. I have severe mental health issues. And there we go. Back to full screen portrait mode for that. And we'll take a look at this new video here.
My story from the beginning has not changed. Regardless of how many of you say it has, it hasn't. My memory is what it is.
Now you're consistently inconsistent, just like James. So, yeah, your memory is what it is. It's Swiss cheese by now.
I cannot change that. And going through another year of mental torture and manipulation to force me to believe things that you believe, so that you don't have to admit you were wrong in harassing a mentally unwell person for an entire year over your false beliefs of her guilt in a crime that another man not only pled guilty to, but pled principle that he was solely responsible for what happened.
No, that's not what the principal adhered to, basically. He pled guilty basically to save his own ass so that he wouldn't get the needle in his arm and he would get a second chance at life. He would still be in prison for the rest of his life, but he would still get that second chance. Mary, that decision was all about him. The principle that you're talking about was in case the jury decided that he was guilty. Then at that point, the jury can say, you know what? She's just as guilty because of that. So it's only a matter of him wanting to save his own ass and maybe at the same time save yours as well. Because he knew that by that court principal document that they could come after you. And maybe he thought, you know what, that wasn't right. Because he did what he did, and he's very sorry for what he did. And that's probably why he pled guilty, because, you know, he realizes that he was manipulated into murdering Roberta Laws. So he took pity on you, Mary.
Because he had planned what he was going to do. He had looked for somebody not mentally strong enough to fight him or understand him, and he found me. somebody with severe mental health issues who had absolutely no support. Because my family still fully believes that there is no mental health problems.
No. You're gaslighting your family by saying that. You're saying that your family believes that you had no mental health problems. No, they knew you had mental health problems because of how openly defiant you were towards them over the least little things. They knew that you had mental health issues, and you just pretending that that they had no idea about your mental health is just making you look all the more guilty, Mary.
No matter how many doctors, no matter how many hospitals, my family will never accept that there's anything wrong with me. That's why I had to come all the way to California to be able to get help. My family is in Florida screaming, there's no abuse and there's no mental illness. I had been fighting it for years without any support or any help, just my family telling me that I needed to get over things, find a man, move on, get my life together. Since I can't have kids, it's really hard to find a man. I thought I had found one. Now, obviously, you want to find a man who doesn't already have somebody, but I didn't know that he already had somebody because he lied and hid her.
Which person are you talking about, Mary? Are you talking about your first husband, the one that was grooming pedophile, Mary? Are you talking about the transgender who was having an open relationship with a 16-year-old girl that you were well aware of, Mary? Is Bobcat's very interested right now. Okay, I know. Yeah, that's Mary. Yeah. He's looking very intently at the monitor right now. So
To reel me in. He made all of these decisions. I got dragged into it, but I played no part in what happened. Anything I did afterwards, I did because he forced me to.
no, Mary. Kenneth never forced you into doing anything. You had the freedom to walk away anytime you wanted to, and you just happened to hang around for 5 weeks because you didn't know what the fuck to do. There was a dead body in the backyard. You had no idea what the fuck to do. That dead body, it wasn't getting any better. It was getting worse. It was starting to stink. Mary, you probably buried it in the shallowest of graves, probably no more than 1 or 2 feet into the ground. Can't dig any farther than that because you're going to hit the water line and you'll hit the water table at that point. But Mary, once that body started hitting moisture, decomposition really starts to take hold at that point, and that body is going to stink to high heaven, and everyone around it for at least a good 200 yards is going to know that something is really, really fucking wrong. So you hung around with a dead body for 5 weeks, Mary, and you could have walked away any time during all of that. Yes, Auntie Green. Yes, Bobcat is the best kitty in the world. Thank you.
Which he admitted by claiming principle. So, enough. You have gone after a severely mentally unwell woman for an entire year.
The principal document didn't end because of the guilty plea. In fact, the state could still just as easily charge you with accessory after the fact, given the very information that you've put together in this video and the one we just watched. Mary, you're digging your own grave and you save.
2022 cannot be the same. I need actual help and support if I'm ever going to start healing and getting better. I can't have I can't wake up thinking the entire world hates me and wants me dead for another year.
Then stop the videos, Mary. Stop the videos. Just, quit that part of your life. Quit trying to be this celebrity that you want to be. And you can make a better life for yourself just flipping those digital data hamburgers, like I keep telling you. Yeah, you know what, Gut Hook Calhoun, Bobcat is the real star of these videos. Yeah. You doing okay, buddy? Yeah. It's gonna be 13 this year. I rescued him in April of 2009. 13. Not that, buddy.
You people have no idea what that does to somebody like me who already feels like everybody wants her dead.
Is that called, because it's called remorse, Mary. That's what you have. You have remorse now for the death of Roberta Laws. You're still trying to come to grips with the fact that you basically nag pressured Kenneth into doing the unthinkable when you thought he wasn't even capable of doing it. I think you kept using that thread of get rid of her, get rid of her, get rid of her, and you thought that it would pressure Kenneth into finally dumping her, but Kenneth, read your anger towards Roberta.
And nobody will ever love her or understand her. Like, these things might be jokes to you, but they genuinely affect me. And you'll say that I'm lying about that. I am not. The court documents show how many doctors I had been to, how many diagnoses I had had, how long I had been dealing with it. I am not lying about any of this. Just because my memories don't match, it doesn't mean that I'm lying. Just because I forgot, you're saying, well, oh, now she's back to saying I forgot. Well, if I'm back to saying it, then it must have been what I was saying from the beginning, which means that my story has not changed.
She just went completely back to square one on all of her bullshit. She's like, okay, well, I know none of these stories are going to work, so I'll just go back to the tried and true, I have mental health issues, I have memory loss issues kind of bullshit. So,
Don't you understand how that works?
oh, we do. We do, Mary. Believe us. Yeah, we understand you better than we think. Better than you think, too.
If you're saying, well, now she's back to saying this, then it must mean that that's the original story that I was saying. I didn't deter off of it. I haven't changed anything.
No, you changed quite a bit, Mary, especially in your book, where you were claiming that you were being held captive for 5 weeks, tied to a bed, and you didn't even tell that to the cops, Mary. You've kept, changing your story over and over and over again.
You people have.
All right, next video. Oh, this is the pity grift videos. Okay, so she's help me smoke the new year. PayPal me /Adrasdea. If you're mesmerized, hypnotized, magnetized by my titties.
Okay, so I need some money to start off the new year with. If anybody wants to help me out, pay.
You know what, Mary? AP and Mersh gave you money for Christmas, and you turned around and gave it right back. Took you a while to give Mersh's money back, and it took you a while to give AP his money back, considering you wasted it on a crypto investment that lost 20%. So you would not be making this video if it weren't for the fact that you gave AP and Mersh their money back that they were trying to help you with. They knew how desperate your situation was. And like, hey, you know what? Here's some money. Merry Christmas kind of thing. But you turned around and you set in motion the events that lead to this video that we're watching tonight for New Year's. Because it's about getting you high, It's about getting you drunk for the new year, isn't it, Mary?
Adrasdea. I had done recycling. See, I had the recycling, and I just went up to turn it in, and they had closed. Like, literally right as I got there, they were closing. And so, fuck, right? Because I was only trying to get like $5 to go and get a gram to bring in the new year.
Why don't you just pawn your microwave again, Mary? That's worth $5, isn't it? Stupid woman.
I walked up there earlier to check if they were open, and they were, so I came back to get my recycling, and then they closed. And they're not going to be open tomorrow, so PayPal me /Adrasdea. Anything helps. I appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Do not give this woman 1 cent of your money. She is not worth it, okay? And it's not that I'm saying to donate to me instead, because you know what? I'm not doing these streams for the money because I already have a job. I'm already making rent. The donations are kind of a nice little bonus to help me out, yes, but I'm not out here, like pity grifting people. Oh, you have to do this. You have to help me right now, or I'm going to lose my apartment. Bullshit, Mary. My rent's paid. What about yours?
Okay.
Oh, god damn, Mary. Force me to go back into the thing again. Alright. Transform, fit to screen. Ah, damn it, Mary.
So firstly, I'd like to say thank you to the people who donated to me.
Oh god, of course. Probably some random person who's never even heard of her until today donated money on Facebook to help her out.
I'm heading up to the dispensary closest to me because I don't even feel like riding the bus to the farther away one. Sorry, I'm walking up a hill and I'm fat, so bear with me if I sound like I'm dying.
That's a familiar phrase from March of last year. You gave us 3 days of this, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. And that was a grift, too. That was just a huge ass grift.
The reason a lot of you are asking why I would dare to ask for money from all of you. And what y'all don't understand, what I've tried to explain many times, is that you are not all here for the same purpose. Half of you probably are here to watch me suffer and struggle and hurt. But there's another half that has joined in that sees the reality of the situation. Those people are the ones that I'm asking for help when I'm asking. Obviously, if you're telling me to kill myself on a daily basis, I'm not coming to you for support.
No, you're just going to the people on Facebook who have never heard of you before, and they're easy to grift. It's like you're holding up a sign that says homeless, anything helps, and you don't care who it is that, gives you money.
But you are not the only person on my channel. I have very close to 800 subscribers now.
Oh god, that is a scary fucking thought, that she is that close away towards YouTube monetization and super chats.
So if I'm posting a video that you think is about you, there's about 790 other people it could be about.
I'm not subscribed to you, Mary. I never will subscribe to you. I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give you that YouTube little bit of ad revenue, Mary. I keep track of you in a different way. I don't subscribe to you, but I keep track of you in my bookmarks tab, Mary.
Calm your tits, if you can. And have a happy new year.
Okay, and we're back to this video. Oh, hang on a second. do a little adjustment here. Transform, fit to screen. There we go. Sorry. Something I had to fix on my end here for this, but okay, so New Year's dress. This is another short one.
I got me a new dress for New Year's.
Out of the money that she hustled from, her little donations today. Mind you, you know what? This dress probably looks like it's $1, maybe even less. I'm not going to fault her for getting a dress that, is probably going to make her feel happier for the new year. It's at least a change. But I wouldn't go bragging about a new dress right after you've been begging people for money all day so you could get high and get drunk. Because they're like, I gave you that money to get high and get drunk. What are you doing buying a dress with this? It's kind of a reversal nut, but
Only cost $3. So, I found a little store that I had never been in before. Maybe have a new place to do my clothes shopping, because normally I just go to Goodwill on Thursdays for the $1, but this place has stuff for $1 every day. And it's cute.
Alright, next video, and this is the last video of the evening. The tits cannot be calmed. And I had to make sure to watch this video just to make sure that, she didn't try to pull any kind of educational stuff on us here. But, Mary, well, let's hear what you have to say about your titties.
No, I tell y'all to calm your tits, but my own cannot be calmed nor contained. I love this dress, but I don't know. I might have to wear another shirt underneath it.
It took me a moment to realize that this was the dress that she had just bought in the previous video. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the dress that she was talking about. Okay, makes sense now. Mary, you look like you're wearing a dress. That's nothing bad, nothing good about it. It's, pretty neutral.
Because the tits be crazy.
Well, Hatman will appreciate a good set of titties, even if they're yours. I think that brings to an end our New Year's Eve episode of the LolCow Ranch. Bobcat, what do you think, buddy? Yeah, he's had enough. So
She's definitely far more likable when she's just out and about and being happy. I mean,
yeah,
it's like night and day. It's like night and day. So
yeah,
Mary, do more of that, and less of the
crazy
in front of the
ranting.
camera.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think if you just ignore the situation and just focus on the positivity and things like that, I think you'd be better off. I can even stand the shameless grifting and saying, hey, help me get fucked up for the new year. I mean, I think people can respect the honesty of that more than anything. Because if there's one thing that every human being on the planet, doesn't matter race, age, creed, nationality, whatever you want to say, ethnicity, nationality, anything. If there's one thing every human being hates, is being lied to. So if you're just unapologetically yourself, like a character from the show Shameless on Showtime, like people can respect that. You want to be Frank Gallagher, man, you're just completely on being Frank Gallagher. But dipping in and out of victimization, it really is the thing that I think brings people, the ire and gives you so much hate. Just be unapologetically you, and you probably get a lot more respect. The sympathy cards, the woe is me cards, they're not helpful because there's so many of them that contradict one another. You get thousands of videos, and anybody that does follow you just be annoyed with the drastic changes in heart, and there's not such a change in heart, Mary, where it's, oh, I was depressed and now I'm manic. Like this is your baseline. You know, this has been your baseline for 1,000 videos. So you can't attribute it to schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, or millions of other diagnoses you reported on your channels. I mean, you named so many diagnoses that you say you have, and they are changed over time, and it doesn't seem like they're new diagnoses. Just input whatever works. So
Yeah.
I think
Just
I think
grift.
it just yeah, if you're gonna grit, just be shameless about it. If that's what you're gonna go for.
Yeah.
I think people can respect that more, and leave the crocodile tears out of it, because that
Yeah.
just makes people. That's just the thing that's gonna.
There's one.
It drives everybody to give you hate posts and
There
emails and everything else.
there was one panhandler I was seeing at the corner, and she had on these like little bee kind of like the things with the foam balls on the springs. You know what I mean? It looks like bee antenna, and she's got a sign that says "When life stings you, be BEE happy" kind of thing. So I mean, whatever works for her. I mean that would be when life stings you,
Look at
you got to be happy.
look at James, man. James can say what he wants, but we said, hey, bud, best thing you can do is just to stop posting videos and post things that find the community that works for you. And what is he doing the past couple of days? He can't help himself with posting some stuff, but he hasn't had a single hate comment on the vast majority of things he posted about vegan diets. And
Yeah.
if you get into your interest, if you like that shit, like people aren't gonna bother you. And she just needs to take up. Can't believe I'm saying this, but she needs to take a page out of James's playbook at this point and see, dude's not getting any hate right now. It's only when he goes into that delusional thing that people check him for it. But when he's just posting normal interest stuff on his community tab, he's got like no comments. People aren't coming for his soul.
Yeah.
And I think
He's learning.
the more
he's learning.
He's definitely learning more than she is. If she wants to be shameless about it, then don't tack it on your mental illness. Don't tack it on that stuff, because everybody will say back to you, "But what are you doing to help it?" It's what you're saying is they're conditions, but they're not lifelong debilitating conditions. In her case, they are for lots of people that I've worked with, but not for her. She's clearly functional. She's functional enough to have a semblance of a decent life, or more if she really put the effort in. But you can't say, "Oh, woe is me, I'm completely helpless. I have all these mental illnesses, I have these things, these debilitating symptoms," and then the next day be like, "Well, got some money, got outside, bought a dress, going to get some party favors, quote unquote, and I'm gonna have a good time."
And just live the next year the same way that she lived the last year at that point. So
in the famous words of a movie by the name of Dodgeball, Mary, if you can dodge the wrench, you can dodge the ball, Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clearly you can do both, so no excuses.
No excuses, Mary. And you know what? That's a good point to go ahead and just call it a night. ASDSS, thank you for joining us this evening. Maureen, thank you also. And I'll probably, I'll figure out sometime I want to come on tomorrow because it's my day off. That's the weird thing about these shows is that I originally was going to do them just only on Tuesdays and then only on Saturdays because that was my days off from the work at home job. And then something about the videos, suddenly I'm just doing them all the time now because it's like if I wait too long, I can't script my anger for that long. I have to get it out now on these kinds of videos. So that's why, I can do things like Friday night, get ready for Saturday and do like a double feature tomorrow. So anyway.
I've been working late every night on audits and chart reviews. So I just kind of sit here and listen to this and do some simultaneous work. So
yeah,
it's been It's been fun, but I
Thank
think
you.
Mel, you should get yourself in the Discord once in a while because you're a good devil's advocate. I
Yeah,
think you can add to the conversation, Mel. You should.
I think any that when I throw the voice links, if you're not permanently wrenched already in the voice chat, you just come into the waiting room and we'll pull you in, and then you get a permanent wrench anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone, thank you all for watching Rocknar's LolCow Ranch, and we will